Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. This is a deep analysis for Bitcoin. We're gonna see what happened this week and what it might happen next in this deep analysis, starting with the all-time history here, where we are looking at the 2 weeks chart. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse toward the upside, finished wave 1 here, followed by a deep correction, ABC zigzag for a wave 2 or a wave B. After this, we see continuation of impulsive waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to finish wave 3, wave 4 given as well as a deep correction zigzag, and then finally finishing a wave 5 here as a perfect impulse, of course, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. The wave 4 did not interfere with the zone 1. The wave 3 is longer than the wave 5, meaning this is a perfect impulse finished for a wave 1 or a wave A in a zigzag for the future price action. After this impulse, we can see another deep correction as a zigzag ABC given, and then followed by an impulse toward the upside, which was our latest bull run that we saw, of course, in 5 waves, moving, of course, towards the 125k almost. And we saw, of course, a perfect impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now, after this impulse, we can call, of course, a wave 1 here or a wave A. Of course, much preferably is a wave 1, since you have a finished impulse over there, you have a correction in between, and you start, of course, a final impulse here toward the upside, whether it is a wave 3 or a wave C. Meaning, in a bigger view here and on the macro level, for the all-time history, you might be here in a potential 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5 toward the upside for Bitcoin. And you are looking currently at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a wave 3, and then having 4 and a 5 toward the upside. Now, another possibility, which is, of course, the ABC zigzag, where you might see here an A, B, and a C. This wave C can be only one impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and dropping down, of course, after it, because it is a 3-wave correction. Higher possibility, it is a wave 3 unfolding here, meaning after it, we might have a wave 4, and then simply continuation for wave 5 towards the upside. Now, we have, of course, so much talked about this bull run, whether it is finished over there or is still, of course, unfolding something towards the upside. It was very clear for us since the last price action for this week that we are starting to get a little bit far from a scenario, of course, that we are still in a potential bull run here in a wave 1, that it can be finished there, and that because, of course, due to the current price action on the lower time frame as well, we see many levels broken, many scenarios are, of course, broken for the bullish, and we see higher potential for downward here. So the potential for the bearish scenario or a corrective market here that we might see after an impulse, which of course defining the direction of the market towards the upside, you might see an A, a B, and a C expanding flat. As a bear market, we already got a wave A, we got a wave B expanding, which of course gave us an opportunity for higher prices, even of course for new all-time highs, and followed of course by an aggressive wave C toward the downside. Currently we are looking at a potential 1-2 formation, which it might continue of course downward for a wave C hitting the wave 2 here as an expanding flat in confluence with the 0.23, 0.38 taken from the first or the start of this impulse till the top of it. In confluence with the chart here, you can see, of course, this is a very strong hold area where we have a very strong support for Bitcoin, which is in confluence as well with this zone. So I believe that this is a zone where Bitcoin can be reset for a new, of course, a bullish market in a massive wave 3 that it might hit, of course, around the 200k here. Therefore, I'm looking, of course, still for lower as higher possibility here on the macro level. I'm looking for a wave C. I'm looking for this area around the 68 and the 70k, of course, for Bitcoin, and then starting to move for higher prices later on. If we move on the daily here for the channeling, and we are talking here about the bull run that we had lately, where we saw, of course, the channeling. We see, of course, the price here when we finish, of course, the wave 5 as a wave 1. We saw the price getting out of the acceleration channel, the green one, entering again the yellow channel, which is, of course, an indication of a finished impulse toward the upside. Now, of course, we saw some rejection on the middle Again, rejection on the top of this base channel, not being able to break it and move again to the green zone, which is of course another possibility for a wave 5 and continuation for this bull run, which is very low possibility. Currently we saw 3 times a rejection from the base channel. Currently we are in a bigger corrective channel which is moving downward. We can see of course the rejection as well in this blue channel currently, and I'm expecting of course lower prices still of course to be reached. Therefore, higher possibility regarding the channeling as well is of course for lower prices, and we might break even this channel downward, and of course we might come to this area here with the base channel and even exiting it and finishing of course, or claiming that a bull run is 100% finished here, and we are in a bear market here, that it might move towards a wave 2, and then of course we start a new bull run from there. Now, regarding the count here for this bear market, we are looking here potentially after a finished wave 1 here. For our bull run, we are looking at an A, B, and a C toward the downside. This ABC, of course, is an expanding flat, hitting perfectly wave B, expanding flat, fib levels 1.38, 1.23. We start to see 5 waves down diagonal as a wave 1, which is a leading diagonal. Can be a 1, 2, and then we're looking for a wave 3, 4, and a 5 toward the downside to hit, of course, as we said in the all-time history, between the 67K and the 73K, of course, around this stronghold area again, of course, and to finish exactly an expanding flat wave C in a wave 2 here, and start of course a very massive bull run for a wave 3, which is around the 200K here for Bitcoin for the next bull run. It's a very fast bear market is gonna be, I believe it's gonna be very fast. I would say that it can be finished at the end of this year, and probably in the beginning of the next year we might start to see of course the formation of a 1-2, probably several 1-2s. So we're not gonna go of course very massively directly. We're gonna see some range here, up and downs, somehow like this formation of several 1-2s, and then we start of course a bull run probably in the next year, or after 6-7 months of formation of several 1-2s. Probabilities are very high. So before moving totally downward with this, we still have of course one potential bullish scenario here that you might have. Of course, it cannot be given from there because from there is broken. We're gonna see it next. But potentially, if you're still looking for higher from the 100K potentially, which is also a very psychological number here, we can still looking at an ending diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. However, this wave 4 to form, of course, you need a zigzag for it. Now you got your 5 waves for a wave A here, B, and a C. Can be, of course, hitting this blue zone around the 100K, 101K, and then starting of course the wave 5 toward the upside. However, this scenario needs of course a signal of strength, 5 waves up, 3 waves down, continuation, and then breaking the high to see of course higher prices here for a final wave 5. In case this happen, we might reach again the 135, 147K. However, the possibilities are a little bit lower here, and that because due of the channeling that we saw here, unless we see of course this blue channel broken of course, and in confluence with the signal that I just gave of course as a confirmation. If we see this broken, therefore of course we might say okay, that is a little bit a potential for higher prices here, potentially of course moving towards the 140K for Bitcoin again. But currently we cannot really call it right now until we get some signals. Now the scenario that I mentioned, what if we get higher prices directly from there? Well, it is kind of like a broken scenario right now, which it was of course an A, B, and a C unfinished. ABC 3 waves corrective, A, B, and a C. The wave C might be your 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Well, it was in a formation, but of course we saw a very deep wave 2 right now, because what you are looking at here is an ABC zigzag. And a wave B in a zigzag should not be very low and very deep, and also not impulsive, right? Because we have an impulse here, and that means of course we might see continuation downward. Therefore, this possibility is getting out of our scenario. We might not see, of course, higher prices again from this level, but of course, after a deeper correction, potentially we might see, of course, in the scenario that I just mentioned here. Yeah, so we might see a little bit higher prices, probably, of course, not very sure. We need, of course, a signal for it, as mentioned and explained. And if this level is broken, and if this scenario is gone and of course invalidated, meaning by breaking the low here or breaking the 95k and moving downward, definitely we are shifting directly for the bearish scenario, full bearish scenario, of course, which is a full wave C downward towards the 70k for Bitcoin. Yep, so these are the levels, key levels to be watched, the scenarios that might unfold next, and of course we're gonna watch them closely. Now let's move on the 2 hours chart here to see what's going on the 2 hours chart, where we have here a potential, as we mentioned, 5 waves downward. You might have a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for a wave A, B, and a C. Probably, of course, we are in a testing area here for the 101k, as explained, of course, in the macro level, where we might shift again for higher probabilities. Of course, can be high unless, of course, we don't get any kind of strength signal. Yeah. But we need the strength signal. We need to break also the channel. Don't forget, we need to break this. Preferably that you just keep inside the blue channel in case we are moving higher again. If we break the blue channel, well, guys, definitely we're moving simply downward. Yeah. Currently, on the micro level, even on the 1 hour chart here, we are looking at this impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. The wave 5 is not finished yet. You have potentially here 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 still to be finished in the blue box for Bitcoin. And I would like to raise a warning about this here. It can, of course, transform to double 1, 2, and this might be, of course, your wave 3 unfinished. Can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 for a wave 3, very long wave 3, and then 4, 5, 4, and a 5. To reach us, of course, inside this area, this zone for the 101k, which it might be, of course, a potential signal of reversal in case we see a signal of strength. Therefore, the bear market is still dominating, of course, here on Bitcoin and the crypto market. As we can see, we're still looking potentially for a lower, and we have to be careful from this turning into double 1, 2, and then wave 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 downward for Bitcoin. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.